Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our online webinar titled Market 4.0, a marketplace for manufacturing. The purpose of this online webinar will be to showcase the main results of the EU project Market 4.0 and provide also some insight into the business model envisaged in the ecosystem produced by the project. So for everyone's information, we'd like to let you know that this event will be recorded and the video will be posted on the project's YouTube channel. So once again, welcome to the online webinar. It will have a duration of 2 hours. We will go from 12 o'clock until 2 o'clock, Central European Summer Time. So this event takes place following the completion of the Market 4.0 project. It's organized by the Market 4.0 consortium partners, and its main aim is to highlight and showcase the achievements, let's say, and the developments of the project achieved throughout its duration, its course, as well as focus on some, let's say, on some interesting aspects of the project, such as the business model, the ecosystem building, and of course, the technical developments, most importantly. Some notes on the organization of this webinar. You might have noticed you are in listen-only mode. So if you would like to make a comment, please use the raise hand function, as you can see on the right side of the slide here. You can use this function to take the floor and make a comment. And of course, if you would like to ask a question to the staff, please use the respective function, the question function, in the panel on the right, as you can see here on the slide. So here on this slide, we can see the agenda and the presentation that will be given at today's event. So we will start with an overview of the Market 4.0 project, which will be given by me. I will make sure to introduce myself properly in the next slide, followed by the presentation on the Market 4.0 industrial marketplace, which will be given by Konstantinos Sipsas from the company Intrasoft, and a presentation on one of the 3 domain marketplaces of the project, namely the plastic domain marketplace, which will be presented by Dr. Ronan Legov from IPC. Then we will follow with presentations on covering, let's say, the open call, the ecosystem building efforts of the project. There is a presentation titled Building the Market 4.0 Ecosystem, Success Stories from the Open Calls. This will be given by Dr. Kosmas Alexopoulos from LMS. And we'll have one of the open call projects with us here today, presenting its main, let's say, achievements, giving a live demo presentation. This will be given by Andreas Sardelis from CASP, who is the consortium leader in the Enter project. Then we will, let's say, conclude the presentations of the event with, let's say, with a presentation on titled Market 4.0, Pioneer for Hybrid Business Models in Data Economy. There will be 2 speakers here in this slot, Maria Rosaria Russo from Engineering and Christoph Mertens from IDSA. Hopefully, we'll have enough time in the end for a Q&A session. And as already mentioned, please use the question function to submit your questions, and we will, the staff will happily take them and provide answers to your questions at the end. And with this, we can start with the first presentation for today, an overview of the Market 4.0 project. So now it's time for me to properly introduce myself. My name is Dimitris Liparas. I'm a Research and Innovation Manager with the company Intrasoft, Acting Coordinator of the Market 4.0 project. And I will start by giving some very key information on the project facts. So Market 4.0 is a Horizon 2020 project, the EU-funded project. It kicked off in November 2018, and with a duration of 42 months, 3.5 years, it has been no more than 2 weeks since it has been completed, the 30th of April 2022. So it's an innovation action project, and it follows the lump sum model. Just for your information, the topic identifier under which it ran it's DT NMBP 20/2018. And as you can see on the left side of the slide, we have a map depicting, let's say, the consortium partners. We had a consortium of 19 partners from 10 countries, covering, let's say, a multitude of roles and expertise. So in this regard, we had a very well-balanced consortium. It was coordinated by Netcompany Intrasoft, as already mentioned. and we can move on to, let's say, the vision of the project, the scope, the main idea. So the overall concept of MARKET4.0 is, let's say, based on the recognition that it is currently not possible to purchase, to procure production equipment through digital platforms. The reason for this is twofold. Firstly, this type of products, production equipment, is too complex for traditional e-commerce platform approaches. And of course, let's say, digital twinning is needed to assess the suitability of these products. That's an extra complexity here. Secondly, traditional e-commerce platform approaches, they follow a winner-takes-all model, in which, let's say, the platform with the biggest market share will survive in the end. So as a result, this makes, let's say, production equipment manufacturers, providers of services, and potential buyers very reluctant to engage in such an interaction, very reluctant to use traditional e-commerce platforms to purchase or sell production equipment respectively. So this creates the need for a new type of business model, which will include ways to safeguard and protect the intellectual properties of these stakeholders, of these actors. And then here comes MARKET4.0, whose vision is to develop an open, multi-sided digital platform in order to enable production equipment and service providers to connect, interact, and work together with manufacturing companies, with interested buyers of these services and this equipment. And one of the main, if not the main focal point, let's say, of the project is to create financial and technical trust in manufacturing business-to-business collaboration. So with the creation of this trust, this interaction and this collaboration is possible, is made possible. Here on this slide, we have, let's say, the envisaged ecosystem of MARKET4.0. It's basically the three sides, let's say, side of stakeholders, of actors that interact and collaborate. They form a triangle, as we can see. So on one hand side, we have the suppliers, let's say, of production equipment. They want to make their equipment available for interested buyers. On the other hand side, we have the demand side, potential buyers. It can be like manufacturing OEM, system integrators, or organizations in the multi-tier, let's say, supply chain. So they would like to purchase, they would like to procure equipment. If we would like to break it down a little bit more, as you can see on the right side, some things that these sides would like to do in their interaction is they would like to connect, the demand side would like to search for this equipment, they would like to test and simulate these products, they would like to compare, different options, to receive feedback from the supply side, and in the end, to make this purchase of equipment possible. On the lower side of this triangle, of this ecosystem, we have infrastructure and app providers. Their role and their, let's say, their involvement in this ecosystem, in this triangle, is to develop and provide apps that facilitate this collaboration, that extend, let's say, the functionalities in this ecosystem. So, for example, just some very quick examples of apps that can be provided by the stakeholders: a virtual augmented reality app, simulation, or collaboration apps. So their purpose is to facilitate and extend this interaction and collaboration. And in the middle, of course, comes MARKET4.0 to make this possible, to make this ecosystem a reality. So here in this slide, the purpose of this slide is basically to show that the products and services that are offered through the platform, through the marketplace, they cover, let's say, a variety of types. So, for example, I will just go through them very quickly. Under the term, let's say, products, we have production equipment, or, for example, software that can be downloaded and used by the interested, let's say, customer, the potential customers. Or it can be, let's say, not so tangible assets, but of course with tangible results, the so-called services. It can be manufacturing on demand, services, engineering, or maintenance, for example. Just some types of products and services that are relevant to our ecosystem. But the key piece of information that we would like to convey through this slide is basically the fact that all these principles, all these ideas, and all these concepts of MARKET4.0, they are applied to three key production equipment domains. So throughout the duration of MARKET4.0, we had three production equipment domains, three key domains, namely metal processing, plastics and composite processing, and high-tech production equipment. So these three domains basically acted as the use cases in our project. This will be evident in the next slide a little bit, where we highlight, we depict the main achievements of the project as we perceive them. Of course, we could use, let's say, 2, 3 or more slides to showcase the developments completed in the project through this 3.5 year duration of the project. But if we would like, let's say, on one slide to showcase the key achievements, the key outcomes, we selected the 3 that are depicted on this slide. So the main, of course, outcome, technical outcome of the project, the project has implemented an in-marketplace for industrial equipment trading. It relies, some key information on the marketplace, it relies on a peer-to-peer IDS-based infrastructure. Please keep the term IDS for now, and more information will be given on this in the immediate next presentation covering the technical aspects. And this e-marketplace provides key enabling technologies in terms of communication and collaboration in advanced multi-sided platforms. So second key main achievement of the project, as we already mentioned, we have 3 key discrete manufacturing domains addressed by the project, metal, plastic, and high-tech, these 3 domains. And basically what has come through the addressing of these 3 manufacturing domains, we have developed 3 domain-specific marketplaces, or as we like to call it, 3 domain-specific instantiations of the main MARKET 4.0 platform, coupled with domain-specific services and apps that facilitate the activities in the 3 domains and they facilitate the interactions taking place in these 3 domains. Finally, let's say the MARKET 4.0 project has issued and successfully completed 2 open calls for new experiments, for new sub-projects that have connected with the main MARKET 4.0 platform. I have onboarded, their offerings to our ecosystem. In order, the main scope of these 2 open calls was to increase, let's say, the efforts in building a MARKET 4.0 ecosystem, and of course the alliance building efforts of the project. I would like to allocate 2 more slides, let's say, covering the open calls of MARKET 4.0. Of course, more information will be given in a dedicated presentation, which will be presented by Dr. Kosmas Alexopoulos. But I would like to focus on some key figures, some key aspects of the open calls, just for everyone's information, to get a very generic overview of how it progressed, the implementation of this open calls. So basically, through these 2 rounds of open calls, we had 25 pilot projects that were selected. There was, of course, an evaluation selection process of the proposal submitted. We had 25 pilot projects that were selected and funded by MARKET 4.0. If we would like to break it down a little bit more, there were 14 projects in Open Call 1 and 11 in Open Call 2. All these projects here had a 12-month duration, and here we depict, let's say, the timeline for each open call. Open Call 1 kicked off in November 2020, ended in October 2021, and subsequently Open Call 2 started on the 1st of April 2021 and finished on the 31st of March this year. In total, 2.35 million euros were allocated to the open call projects, and you can see how this is broken down per open call. And the funding of the open call sub-project, as in the case of MARKET 4.0, let's say the mother project, the parent project, was follow the lump sum model, the funding of these sub-projects. And this will also help you get a better understanding in the respective presentation of the types of open projects that were addressed, that were considered in the course of the open calls. We had 3 types of funded open call projects, namely type A, B, and C. Types A and B were addressed by both open calls, while type C was considered only in open call 2. So the scope, very briefly, of these 3 types of open call projects: type A focused on the supplier side of our ecosystem. So if you remember the triangle that was presented earlier of the MARKET 4.0 ecosystem, it's the left side, the production equipment supplier side of the ecosystem. So the purpose here was to include more production equipment suppliers and their offerings and their equipment and their products to connect them with the main MARKET 4.0 platform. Consequently, Type B projects, they focused on the infrastructure and app providers side of the triangle, so the bottom side of this ecosystem, with a focus on implementing and providing apps and services used to support the activities of the ecosystem, to support the collaboration between the supply and the demand side. And with a note here that the Type A and Type B, they focused on the domains already addressed by the project, so on the metal, plastic, and high-tech domains. So we kept the application or the scope of Type A and Type B projects on the three use cases of the project. And then Type C took all these principles, these ecosystem building principles, and the Market 4.0, let's say, scope and ideas, with a view to expanding the Market 4.0 ecosystem, the platform, to other production equipment domains not addressed by the project up to that point. So we leave the three use cases behind, and we expanded the Market 4.0 platform ecosystem to other use cases, to other production equipment domains. And with this slide, I stop my presentation. I hope I have given a useful overview of the Market 4.0 project. Of course, the scope of the subsequent of the following presentation is to give details on, let's say, three main aspects or three main pillars. I will just quickly name them. We will focus on the technical aspects of the project, starting, let's say, with the presentation given by Konstantinos Sipsas, who will take the floor after me. We will also have a presentation on the ecosystem building aspects of the project, on the open call activities and the main results. And the final, let's say, pillar, the final scope of the presentation to be given will be on the business model of our ecosystem. This will come last. So with this, I stop my presentation, and I would like to give the floor to Konstantinos Sipsas, who will be the presenter of the next presentation. So I will, yes, Costa, we can see your screen.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you very much. When you are ready, you can share your screen. The floor is yours.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, Kostas, your screen is on. Thank you very much.
Okay, so as Dimitris said, my name is Konstantinos Sipsas. I am also with Netcompany Intrasoft, and I work as a software engineer there. I will talk about the platform that we have built. So in my presentation, I will start with some details on what this platform is about and what it does. I will tell you how it is different from existing platforms and give you a brief insight also on the technical side of things. And my last, let's say, topic will be on how to work with a platform, where I will cover main functionalities and for all the user roles. And lastly, we have a live demo where we will see all these things that I talk about in action. First, I would like to say that, of course, I will be covering let's say, the backbone or the common parts that facilitate the work that is done on the domains. So we have also the plastic domain today, talk about how they do their business on the platform. So I will cover the, let's say, the generic part, and then you will see more details about the plastic domain, which is one of the three domains that also Dimitris talked about. So let's see what is the platform about. So it is a business-to-business marketplace focusing on procurement of equipment and services for the three domains. Of course, like all traditional marketplaces, we have features like registering users and companies, browsing and searching for equipment or services, listing and managing of equipment and services. This second functionality, of course, applies to the supplier side, while the previous one is in the customer side. And we're also supporting purchasing and quotation workflows. Of course, it's evident that we also have a centralized user interface that acts as the main entry point for all the users. You can visit the interface at platform.market4.0. You also see here at the bottom right a screenshot of our landing page. We will see this also together during the live demo. So let me talk now about how our approach is different from what it was already out there before we start with the project. So the key difference here is that we're using IDS technology. IDS stands for International Data Spaces. I have at the bottom the URL of International Data Spaces, should you want to familiarize yourself more. And this approach enables us to our users to share their data peer-to-peer with the suppliers, between suppliers and customers, and have, of course, full control of how their data is used. In order to take advantage of this technology and also make it transparent to our users, we have incorporated into our marketplace this concept of apps. The apps not only facilitate the use of the IDS technology, but they also facilitate the various requirements from the domains. In essence, the apps provide a peer-to-peer and secure environment for customers and suppliers to share the data with each other and facilitate equipment and service procurement. Of course, here I should also stress that let's say the centralized marketplace is not taking part in these peer-to-peer exchanges. The apps have a second role as well. So they also work as a way of extending the functionality of the centralized platform, either by providing new features. So for example, here we have apps that act as configurators, or apps that provide access to confidential supplier data. So in this case, we have apps that are used for equipment identification, something that you can also use through over the platform, the centralized platform. But also they have more access towards the supplier data and can further filter down, let's say, the equipment that are available based on the user's requirements and the confidential supplier data. So in order to demonstrate, let's say, the importance of IDS, I have here the technical overview. I will not go very much into the details of the technical side of things. I just wanted to highlight that IDS plays a key role in our architecture. You can see it in green in the right side of this drawing. This is used for a significant amount of data exchanges. It facilitates the use of apps and also some data exchange over the platform when the user is forwarded from the platform to some of the apps. What also I would like to say and highlight in this slide is that the core platform and the apps are used also for facilitating the domains, and the domains is where more apps are developed and they facilitate the specific user requirements of each domain. In essence, everything starts with the Market4 client, where all the users start with, and then it moves from the platform towards the apps where IDS is the key technology and peer-to-peer data exchanges take place. So let's see how we work with the platform itself. The platform supports 3 roles. The first one is the customer. Of course, this is a user or company looking to purchase some kind of equipment or services. Next, we have the supplier role. This is a user or company looking to list and sell, of course, equipment or services over the platform. So we have here in these two roles the supply and the demand side. And lastly, we have the developers that are responsible for developing apps, further adding functionality to the marketplace, and of course looking to facilitate the interactions between the customer and the supplier. And of course, they can also develop their own business model based on the apps that they are building. Just as a note here, we have noticed that these roles tend to overlap. So in essence, some suppliers act as developers as well. And it could be also that a company that is acting as a customer might at some point want to also act as a supplier. So while we use and differentiate these roles in our user interface, we have allowed the users to change between roles as required. So let's look at let's say one of our main workflows for working with the platform as a customer. So of course, the first step is to sign up and complete the user and company profile. The major workflow here is that the customer is looking to buy some kind of equipment or service. So the first step is to start searching. This can be facilitated through the marketplace itself with the catalog and the searching functionality, or specific apps can be used to identify equipment. These apps, as I said earlier, may also provide data that are private from the supplier side and they are not part of the portal. So the facilitation here may go into more detail. And then the next step, as soon as the user has identified the appropriate equipment, is to proceed with the purchasing or quotation workflow. Here we have, let's say, two different paths. The one is the traditional path where you add your item to your cart and then you go to the payment screen and use your credit card or bank account to make a purchase. The other way is to use an app and ask for a quotation from the supplier directly. This is done over IDS, of course, and using the Market 4.0 ordering app, which was specially designed for this purpose. And of course, as soon as the quotation phase is completed, the user can proceed with the order. Let's say this is the most important, I would say, and common workflow for the portal when you work with it as a customer. However, this workflow might become more complex depending on the apps used. So as I said earlier, we have configurator apps that, of course, will go in between the identification and the ordering of equipment. And of course, there are other apps that might be for monitoring the progress of your order, if we look at the high-tech domain, or even there's apps for managing the production schedule of your company based on the orders that come from the customers of the marketplace. So, in essence, this is an indicative workflow, but might be more complex or a bit different depending on app use. For the supplier, we have I would say, kind of simpler workflow. So the first step is, of course, the same: sign up and complete your profile. Assuming that we're dealing with equipment, then you need to define the countries that you are interested in working with. A configuration of apps might be required depending on what are the needs of the supplier. So if you are using the Market 4.0 ordering app, you may want to install this on your own local infrastructure. So a configuration step is there required. Of course, the last step would be to list products and services in the catalog, and of course, monitor the apps and the platform for orders. And for the developers, a bit different workflow, so sign up, of course. The next step, we would highly recommend that someone does that, so read the technical guides. We have there information on how the platform works from a technical perspective, how to work with IDS, guidelines on how, in general, to develop apps that work without technology. The next step is to start working on modifying your app. This is also, let's say, the approach that we use in the open calls for the developers. And lastly, you can list your app in the portal and have users work. And now let's go to the last part of my presentation, which is the live demo. So I will take us to the platform itself to take a look into the user interface and see the customer workflow that I talked about. In order to try to be as clear as possible, we will only look from the customer perspective. So we will sign up, try to browse the catalog and see how the purchasing and quotation workflows work. So give me a moment to change from my presentation to the browser.
Costa, sorry, we can still. Yeah.
Yes, I know. I seem to be having some kind of trouble changing to the. Okay, I think I got it. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. Yeah.
Okay. So let's continue with the live demo. So this is our landing page. So if you visit platform.market4.0, you will see this page. This is, let's say, our landing page or the homepage of the platform for the centralized user interface, of course. So here we've added some information on how we've approached Market 4.0 and how we work with different things like data sovereignty and IDS, how to work with our apps, of course, the manufacturing domains. Next, we have a series of items that have been added lately to our catalog, a sneak peek if you like. And the last part is devoted to our resources for working with the platform. So if you click on these items, you will go to the support pages. You have access also from this button on the top. The support pages provide details on how to work with the platform, and of course we have also a user guide here, which is a document, a PDF file that provides all the necessary information for working with the marketplace, including figures and examples for everything that you need to do. And of course, each role has a dedicated guide. With the exception of the developer role, where we have two guides, one for the technical part of the platform and one that is only dedicated to the single sign-on feature that came later in the development. So I will now create my account, just get this out of the way. We have tried here to to keep this form very simple. However, more details as soon as you sign up, more details can be added to the profile. So you have over here the opportunity to define more details for your company, especially. You will see now that I only have here the company name, but in any case, you can add more details to make sure that the company is represented appropriately. So before I start with looking at equipment and services and how we might try and purchase something, let's look at the App Store, because I've been talking about all these apps that we have. The App Store here is a list of apps that are available and use IDS. And they're here to facilitate the interactions between the customer and the supplier. Most of our apps come in the form of web application, but we have also some Android and Windows applications. I will open the ordering app that we will see a bit later in my live demo. So for each app, you have some details on what the app is about. There's here 2 description fields, and of course the how to install in case some kind of installation or configuration is required, or maybe you can find there some credentials depending on the app itself. This is the ordering app, so this came with the platform itself. It's made to facilitate quotations directly to the suppliers. We will see that in action in a bit. What I wanted to say here, because this app is kind of unique from the others, there are 2 ways to use it. So the one is to download it and set it up in your local infrastructure. Of course, this requires a kind of server infrastructure. However, we have provided also the app online to facilitate mainly the customers that wouldn't want to go through these steps. And of course, when you sign up as a customer like I did, you will get access to the app already in your profile. So there is no configuration step required to start working with this app. You will notice if you go through the platform, and I will also show a bit later, that most of the equipment we have in the platform work with this app. So in order to demonstrate the first workflow, which is purchasing directly from the portal, I will try to buy one of our apps. Of course, the apps themselves are also, most of them are free, but some of them come for a price. So the workflow here is really simple and is what you would expect from a business to customer marketplace. So you add it to your cart, you can proceed with the payment. I will have here, this is our payment gateway. It's integrated from our service provider for this payment gateway. The service provider is Stripe, so this will process the card details and facilitate the payment. You should note that this system right now is not live, so it will not work with your own credit cards. However, it works with the credit cards provided by Stripe, so you can we can test this workflow. So I will use one of the numbers that we have this kind of thing. Of course, this number, if you it's a series of 4s and 2s, you can also use it on your own to simulate a payment. Okay. As you can see, the order went through successfully. So if I go to my orders, I see this item here. And if we click on this app and go back to its view, you will see now that I have access to its URL. Previously, the functionality was add to cart. And of course, the supplier, Pragma IoT in this case, has access to my email and can send me any credentials if required. If we click here, you will see that indeed this application requires credentials. This is how our let's say typical workflow works. And now I'm going to move on to the more interesting and more complex workflow where we do a quotation directly from a supplier. So for this, we will look at the catalog itself. So I will go into the press brake machines. As you can see, we have several machines here from different providers. Actually, there's quite a lot of them. These machines come from the metal domain, but there's also, of course, different items based on the domain here in the catalog. On the left side, like a typical marketplace, you can you have a series of properties that can help you filter down the machines. Let's say that we are looking for one with a bending force of 40 tons. Okay, we have just these three. Of course, you can go through all three of them and look into the details to see what is more appropriate. Again, we have a similar structure to the app here with the details, the properties. This is all the properties that you earlier, at least a subset of properties that you saw in the previous view. And of course, the how to order tab that indicates that we need to add this to the cart or click the order now button. I would also like to say here that you also have in this view the apps, the compatible apps section, where if there are any compatible apps listed by the developer of the app or the supplier, in this case, is a list. They will show up in this section, and you can also use them in combination with the portal. I will leave this for later on, and our colleague Andreas to show this workflow. I will just proceed with the add to cart functionality. I will go to my cart. Again, this is a very similar view with the previous workflow. However, the difference here is that we get a get quotation button, and this will take us to the MARKET4.0 ordering app, and we will be in this peer-to-peer environment where we can directly talk with the supplier. This requires a sign-on. It uses the single sign-on system, so you do not have to use any credentials. So this is it. This is the first, let's say, step. It's a step to make sure that everything is in place. If you had several machines in your cart, you could initiate different quotations with different suppliers. You can add here some details, some notes, or some files that you may want to share with the supplier. And as soon as I click this initiate button, we will start communicating with the supplier directly. Okay, this was successful. And now we are in the quotation, let's say, page. We see here that our messages go to the company Vizelis. We see the products in question for this quotation. And with this, let's say, with this form, you can send different information to the supplier. Of course, the supplier has a similar view in their own app, and they can send back information. We have already received something from it is a lease, informing us of the delivery date and the cost. You can see here that this has been set also in the top. The more interesting thing here is that you can also use this app to not only exchange messages, but also share files over IDS, of course, or outside IDS using this menu here, in case you want your file to be downloadable. And you can send CAD files or PDF files. The CAD files do not go directly to an ordering app. They will go to a different app that is processing CAD files, because this app is not capable of processing CAD files. So this sends a CAD to another app that is already pre-configured by the supplier, or you can share with the supplier a kind of PDF file, maybe some confidential details about what your product looks like, or the supplier may send a confidential offer that is the time constraint. So there's different capabilities here to facilitate the needs of the customer and the supplier in order to move the quotation along, and finally create it into an order that will complete the workflow of this app. The order workflow, the order view is very similar, so I will not go into details here. In fact, you will see more of this app in the coming live demos. So with this, I want to conclude my presentation and the live demo, and go to our colleague Ronan, who will talk about the plastics domain in more detail.
Okay, thank you, Kostas.
And Ronan, I will make you you can share your screen, I think, already. So the floor is yours, Ronan, for the next presentation. Costa, thank you once again. Ronan, when you're ready, I think now you will be able to share your screen. Thank you.
Okay. So, hello everyone. So I am Ronan Le Goff. I am a program manager in IPC in France. So I will do for this webinar the demonstration of the plastic domain marketplace for, with two different apps and services. But firstly, I will give to you a short introduction of the plastic domain marketplace. So the marketplace related to the plastic domain has been developed with the objective to reduce the time to market for the development of plastic products. Of course, the idea is to propose a product, but with this equipment, we want to also propose some apps and services to reduce the delay of process design and setting phase of the plastic product development. The objective also of this marketplace is to open business to a larger ecosystem and opportunities, mostly for SMEs. We want also to create online domain-specific modeler to create digital twins. So this is the application that will be demonstrated. And all this in full confidentiality and with data sovereignty rules, thanks to IDS connectivity. So in this purpose, the main idea of the plastic domain, in fact, is to propose apps and services all along the plastic processing value chains that you can see on the screen. So we start with specification, material development, product design, product and process design. So in plastic domain, usually you need to build some mold and tooling. So we have take care also of these steps to finish with the process setting and production. So The idea of the this marketplace in this project is to propose a set of apps and services for each steps of this value chain. So I won't go into the details. So, but what we can find on the marketplace, it is 3 different apps, 3 simulation services, 4 manufacturing services, and 2 production management tools. The plastic domain marketplace is based on 3, I would say, building blocks, as Costas already showed you. So the generic marketplace developed by a net company, the IDS ecosystems in order to share data and to keep this data sovereignty, and of course all the plastic domains, equipments, apps, and services. And you can see on this picture all the actors that already provide some apps and services on the marketplace. So I will do 2 demonstrations. So the first one is related to how to access simulation software through the marketplace. So to access the simulation software, you will need to follow 4 steps. The first one is to find the service, of course. The second one is to order the service. Once you have ordered the service, you will the supplier will send to you some credentials to access a remote server so that you can use the software. So let's go. Let's do the demonstration. So of course it starts with a portal. So we are on the landing page of the MARKET4.0 marketplace. So firstly you need to find the simulation service. So you can either use the search bar. Either you can browse all the services of the marketplace. So we want to use simulation software. So here we want to use easy to move software provided by IPC, which is this one. So once you are on the description page of the services, 2 possibilities. You can add it to the card, or you can use the quit order button, order now. And these services is linked to the ordering app that Costas showed you already how it works. So with the order now button, you have a direct access on the ordering app. So I won't go through all the process between the customer and the supplier. So I will show you directly the ordering platform related to a customer. So I will play the role of a customer that buy a simulation service. So I will look. I have already prepared these ordering steps. So what is interesting in the ordering app, it is the fact that you have all the history of the exchange between the customer and the supplier, and you can see here that the quotation is over. So we have asked a quotation of the simulation service to IPC. IPC have sent the quotation for a specific duration, so valid for the 15th of May. So the customer Basigos have validate the quotation, and they have passed the order. So now the order is validate, and Basigos has sent its CAD file through the ordering app, and IPC has sent the credential to access the simulation service. So using the ordering app, so I will download the credential. This is the credential to access the plastic domain server, where you will find the simulation service. So I put the password that has been sent through the ordering app, and you have access to the remote server where you will find the simulation services. So you should see the remote server. So what I want to use is the simulation service called Molterm. So I open it directly. So okay, so Molterm has been fully been installed into 3D Analyzer as a plugin to take advantage of all the pre-processing functionalities of this software. So once you have launched the simulation software, you can open your CAD file, of course. So I have take a CAD file. So it's a plastic parts. Okay, so right now you can see the plastic parts on which you want to apply simulation. So simulation service are accessible in the molding tools of 3D Analyzer. So you have the molding tools, and here you can find the two services. So Molterm and HydroVolt that has been developed inside the project. So we will use Molterm. So Molterm is a simulation service that allow you to compute cycle time of your injection molding process to manufacture this kind of parts. So once you have downloaded your CAD file, you need to apply a cooling parameter. So inside this simulation software, you can define material for your plastics. So you have a predefined database, your material for your mold, you have also a predefined database, some process parameters, like the injection time, the kind of regulation system you want to apply on your mold, etc., etc. Once you have edited your simulation parameters, you can select how you want to mesh your part and launch the simulation. So I won't launch the simulation today because it's takes a few minutes, but it's long inside the webinar. So I will open some already launched results. Okay, it's not open. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, I won't open this one. I don't know what I have done. I won't open another one because I don't see the results. So, okay, this one works better. So it's another product, but I have problem downloading the results. So this is the results of Molterm. So you have the cooling time computed for all your plastic products. You can generate a report of your process. So you have the result, it is the cooling time according to the thickness of your plastic product. And then you can deduce your production cycle. So within this simulation software, so it generates automatic reports that you can download and transfer either through directly your ordering app on the marketplace portal, or using another app to exchange data called the Plastic Data Domain Exchanger. So this is for the simulation services, how you can access it. Now I will show you another application developed within the Plastic Domain Marketplace, which is the Work Cell Designer. So I still go on the MARKET4.0 portal, of course. So in that case, it is an app. So I can go to either on the App Store. It's more easy for the app to use the search bar. So this is a Workcell Designer. So currently it is a free app. The objective of this Workcell Designer is to create digital twin of your manufacturing workcells. I will show you how. So on the description of the app, if you want to access this Workcell Designer, you can use the ID and the password that has been provided here. So to access the Workcell Designer, you just have to click on the button Go there. You need to log in and to ask for login either to IPC, either to OBO partners. So here I am logged as administrator of the Workcell. So the Workcell Designer allow you to create digital twins, but the first steps in the Workcell Designer is to define an equipment catalog. So for this, you use the modeler that has been created thanks to the open source tool series. So the modeler can allow you to create a catalog within a common language that represent your factory. So either you can use standards like Euromap for plastic domain, or either standard for your kind of manufacturing company. You define all your catalog of equipment. So here I have defined some attributes of robots, thermal camera, mold, thermal controller, an acquisition system, etc. So you can define all equipment you want. The idea, of course, is to have a direct link within the MARKET4.0 equipment catalog, so that you can import directly the feature of your equipment that you have downloaded. So once you have defined this common language, you can use this language to create your digital twin, and you can describe your workcell. So this is what I have done for an IPC workcell. So for IPC in the city of Bellinha, we have a workcell that allow us to build a multi-spiral mold. So I use the catalog that has been defined thanks to this common language, and I can put all the equipment inside this workcell that allow me to manufacture these multi-spiral product. So if I click on the spiral product, I can find here all the features that correspond to your workcell. You can enter all the features that specific to your mold, etc., so that you can define your digital twin. And the final functionality, of course, will be to make the connection with the real workcell to display some real-time data coming from the manufacturing. So this is the Workcell Designer that is accessible through the Plastic Domain Marketplace. So I am done with my two demonstrations of the one app and one services. So now I can give the floor to Dimitris for the next steps of this webinar.
Thank you very much, Roman. Much appreciated, for the presentation and the live demos, of course. Okay, we are a little bit, we ran over a little bit. We took a little bit more time than the original allocated slot, but we are sure it was worth it, for the live demos especially. And with this, I would like to give the floor to Dr. Kosmas Alexopoulos from LMS, who will give the next presentation on building the MARKET4.0 ecosystem. And along with this, some success stories from the open calls will be demonstrated, will be showcased. So, Kosmas, I have made you the presenter. We can see your screen. Thank you very much. You can also turn your camera on. I'm closing mine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dimitri. Yeah. Hello to everybody. I'm Kosmas Alexopoulos, working for the Laboratory for Manufacturing Systems and Automation. LMS, and in the project we have the technical coordination of Market 4.0 developers. However, here we are going to discuss on how the Market 4.0 ecosystem has been developed, has been evolved during the project. And as you can see already from the title, this has been achieved through the mechanism of the so-called open calls. So we will see about the outcome of the open calls. We will discuss two projects that have been running during the open calls, and then at the end we will have a live demo from one of those projects by one of invited companies and invited partners in this workshop. So what we have seen so far from the presentation from Ronan and from Kostas is more about on the Market 4.0 system and what was initially developed through the project, through the partners of the project that were participating in the project, in which we have built and we have actors in these three sides: the supply side, the demand side, the infrastructure and app side. So initially what we did is, of course, we set up the architecture, we set up the ICT and software infrastructure, and we use it to validate and test with our own partners the results. And this was initially performed. And then as a next step, through this mechanism of open calls, we had the chance to invite and include in our ecosystem, in our platform, in our marketplace, several other companies offering products, offering services, all linked to the marketplace to see how the procurement, I mean, with the role of the end user on the demand side, to see how the procurement of the production equipment and services takes place over this solution. So during the open calls, we had three types of open calls. In type A, we were actually looking for partners that can really populate the marketplace with different products and services, but of course also offering some applications to support the interaction between the supply and the demand side. This was type A. Then in the next, another option was type B projects. Here we mainly focus on projects that will provide some maps that help the interaction between demand and supply side. And then at one of the last options that we had in the last open call was type C projects. Here we were looking actually for everything. There were larger projects that we want to see partners from different engines of this schema to join and provide additional capabilities. And you will see later on that we had some projects coming from the robotics area. So here we had the chance to populate and include in our marketplace different type of equipment and infrastructure than from the ones already in place from the project side, namely high-tech metal domain and plastic domain. As a result, from the first open call, you see here some statistics, let's say, some numbers. We had a number of 15 projects, if I'm not mistaken, here in open call 1. And from that, we had 192 new products included in the marketplace, another 8 services included and offered through our marketplace, 13 apps were included in the App Store, and overall 20 companies were somehow engaged and involved into the marketplace. This was a result of the first open call. And then in the second open call, we have additional 25 new production equipment, 2 new products and services, 17 apps in the App Store, and 16 new companies that joined the marketplace. For us, the open call had demonstrated also the capability of the platform to include companies. These companies and they had to integrate not only in a let's say business-wise, but also in technical-wise. They need to use our API, to use the software and the infrastructure that we have developed, the IDS connectors that we have developed, also to connect to some of our applications. So it was the objective here was both to demonstrate the technical feasibility and technical capability of the platform, as well as the model, as well as that this approach that we envision through Market 4.0 works. All this concept that my colleagues Ronan and Kostas presented through the apps, and how these apps can be integrated in the marketplace and be used to facilitate the interaction, has been demonstrated and validated through the open calls. And of course, at the end of the day, we also had the Market 4.0 platform populated with different services and solutions. Now we will just see a couple of examples. One is from a type B project called the 3D Form. There, the idea is to bring to have a solution, a software solution that was already available from the partners Mostica and CASP that were part of this project 3D Form. And this A-Cloud platform is there to facilitate the interaction of 3D printing services. And we integrated this solution and offered this solution through the marketplace. So one now can go through the marketplace, and if he's interested in some 3D printing service, he can use the A-Cloud outcome, A-Cloud project outcome, and get at the end of the day get this service. So this is a solution that demonstrates how a new application that facilitates the interaction between supplier and customer was integrated into the Market 4.0 platform. This of course increases visibility for 3D Form partners. One of the partners, Mostica, offers 3D printing services, so they had the chance to have access to a wider market. For the Market 4.0 ecosystem, we had the chance to provide additional 3D printing services. And we were somehow in the middle of this communication. Another project is called the Probotain. Probotain actually is on providing robotic systems within the Market 4.0 platform. And here the idea was to provide both the equipment, the robotic equipment, and also predictive maintenance solutions that come on top of the equipment. And using this solution, one can have access to the robotic system and perform some maintenance activities. Here, this project gave us the opportunity, together with another project, the Smart Grip, that was also this in the area of robotic equipment. The other project was more on the robotic gripper systems. Gave us added in our marketplace also the equipment related to robotics. Both equipment and services around this technology, one can purchase through the marketplace, and one can use in some cases to help him or her to purchase or not, in any case to validate purchasing of equipment such as robotics. Again, here the concept was the same. I mean, we had the supplier side, the customer side, and the technology developer side, and they were linked and offered those solutions, both, I mean, the apps and for managing production, for managing robotics equipment, and also the equipment itself. This is from Type C. So with Type C, practically what we win in market was the offering of robotics technology and robotics equipment. Now this is for the two projects for type B and type C. Now for type A, we have prepared a live demo from one of our partners. What I want to mention for that is here in a type A, the key objective was to include through our this type of projects to have to include more products into the platform and also have tools to facilitate configuration and purchasing of those products. And I think this demo and this project present this part quite nicely. So now I would make a presenter our colleague Andreas, so he can share his screen and present us the demo.
So, thank you very much, Kosmas. I don't know if you can see my screen.
We can see it, yes. Go on.
So, first of all, to introduce myself, my name is Andreas Ardelis and I work as a software developer for CASP. And I will present the results of the Ender project. First of all, I will show you a couple of slides regarding the objectives and the outcomes, and then we will make a quick demonstration of the project outcomes. So first of all, regarding the team, we have ourselves, CASP. We are a software company based in Athens, Greece, and we have the role of the developer and of the coordinator of this project. We have Gizelis, which is a metal processing equipment manufacturer and had the role of the supplier, and Kleman Elas, which is a lift manufacturing company and was the end user in this project. Now, regarding the objectives, the first and main objective was to onboard Gizelis, to list the Gizelis metal processing equipment in the Market 4.0 marketplace. Secondly, to interact with other Market 4.0 applications, including the ordering app, the visualization app, and the equipment selection service. And finally, to realize a procurement scenario, exploiting the Market 4.0 ecosystem in order to identify the benefits that we gain from using the Market 4.0 technologies. So the main outcomes of the Ender project include, first of all, the product catalog synchronizer, which is an automated solution that is used to connect the internal content management system of Gizelis to the Market 4.0 marketplace through the Market 4.0 portal API in order to onboard, as we said, Gizelis to the Market 4.0 ecosystem. The second outcome is the product configurator, that it is an application that it is available through the App Store and lets the user select among different equipment options for Gizelis machines as they are defined in Gizelis catalog. This application is also connected with the ordering app, and we will see more on this in a couple of minutes. Finally, we managed to integrate with two other Market 4.0 applications using the Metal Domain Data app. We managed to connect Gizelis equipment with the Market 4.0 visualization app, which is an augmented reality application that lets the customer display the products in their own premises, and with the equipment selection service, which is an application that lets the user make more specialized search according to different criteria. So before proceeding with the live demonstration, I will explain a bit the workflow in order to understand what you see. We will be logged in as Cleman to the Market 4.0 platform, which is our customer. We will go through the marketplace. We will go through Giselis equipment. And then we will use the configurator app in order to configure the desired equipment, to select some configuration options, and then make an order through the ordering app. On the other side, and this we will not see it on screen, but the supplier will be connected, and we will process the request for quotation that we will make through the ordering app, and we will get back a response, and we will see it on screen. Let me. Okay, here as we can see, we are logged in as Cleman, which is the customer, the end user of the Enter project. We saw also some of these functionalities before during Costa's presentation. Here we can see the metal processing equipment by Giselis uploaded in the marketplace. And let's say that the customer is interested in buying one of these machines. So instead of ordering it directly, now we will go through the configurator that is listed as a compatible app in this machine. We will click on the Giselis configurator, and we will use the single sign-on mechanism, and we will be redirected to the configuration screen for this specific machine. We will see at the optional equipment section all the different configuration options for this specific machine as they are listed in the Giselis catalog. The user is able to select the desired configuration, and by pressing Get a Code, he will be redirected to the Market 4.0 ordering app. Now the procedure is similar to the one that we saw earlier, but now we will have also attached the configuration options that we selected to our request. Here we can see the machine that we chose. We can set a required delivery date. We can see also the configuration options that we selected using the Giselis configurator. And then we can initiate a bid that will be submitted to the supplier, to Giselis. Okay, we initiated the bid. That it should be received already by the supplier. And we wait for the supplier to respond to this request. I think that it should be processed right now, and we will get the response. Okay, yes, right now we will receive the cost and the delivery date from Giselis. And this was more or less what I had to show for this experiment. Thank you very much. And I think I will give the floor back to Cosmas.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much, Andreas, for the presentation live demo. Cosma, I guess we will continue with the presentation. Just wanted to.
I have a couple more slides to close my presentation. What I would just like to inform here the audience is that information on the open calls, you may find it in online in our Market 4.0 project portal. not the platform. And that you, so there we will have material through kind of posters that provide more insight and more details on the different open call projects. And we also have, if you go into our YouTube channel, there you may see some videos providing, in some cases, some demonstrations of the work that those projects have achieved. So that was from my side and from our side regarding this session. Now, Dimitri, I believe we can go to the next one.
Thank you very much, Cosma. Yes, indeed, we can close with this presentation slot, and we can move on to the final presentation for today. Thank you again, Cosma. Thank you, Andrea. So we're moving on to the presentation titled Market 4.0 Pioneer for Hybrid Business Models in Data Economy. It will be presented by Maria Rosaria Russo from Engineering and Christoph Mertens from IDSA. We start with Maria Rosaria. Hello, Maria Rosaria. We can see you. You are muted. The floor is yours, Maria Rosaria, when you unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Maria Rosaria Russo from Engineering, Ingegneria Informatica. And in this presentation, I'm going to illustrate the Market 4.0 marketplace from a business perspective, giving an overview of the meaning of business-to-business marketplace. I'm going to illustrate the business model for our solution and the hybrid business models the platform will support. We will discuss about the evolution of the Market 4.0 marketplace, and then Christoph will discuss about the business model in transition and the data space radar, so a growing market. Let's start with the business objective of Market 4.0 marketplace. The mission is to provide a secure and efficient digital marketplace for plug and producer industrial product, service, and system aimed at connecting the European manufacturing and also the IT providers, creating a trusted B2B ecosystem. So a business-to-business marketplace is a business where demand and supply meet each other, leading a financial transaction. And this business is created through a platform able to connect these two networks. So the platform is the tool able to create a virtual bridge between two different networks. In one end, the sellers, so people who would like to have something, and the buyers, the people who would like to acquire these tools or these services. The Market 4.0 marketplace objective is exactly that. So create a reference marketplace for the manufacturing and for the IT domain. And after the end of the project, the objective is to maintain and sustain this marketplace through further engineering activities and trying to involve in these tools other clients and other customers. To this end, it's important to define a business strategy, so to illustrate how the marketplace, the consortium, will transform all the research activities done into a gain, not only from an economical perspective, but also from an innovation perspective. To this end, the Market 4.0 marketplace will follow the membership subscription business model that is a typical one for the platform. We will offer different levels of membership corresponding to different services for the client. For example, the different number of product and services you can upload into the platform, participation into the steering board, or a number of free transaction. As the platform will enable the exchange between the supplier and the customer, the platform will maintain a percentage on each transaction carried out, and we will offer also training and consultancy services. This will be very useful, especially in the first phase after the end of the project. We will offer a free trial period in order to improve the number of clients in our platform, and also we will foresee to have sponsorships from the manufacturing companies and targeted advertising. So not advertising in the classical sense because it is a paid platform, but for example, we will launch a paid campaign in order to boost some product, to be a premium member, and so on. So we will incentivate the participation of the end user, of the members into the platform. Moreover, the tools and the services implemented during the Market 4.0 activities will continue thanks to the involvement of the consortium members in research and development activities, and in next future we will also evaluate the possibility to set up a venture capital strategy. So if we look at the flow of money through our platform, considering the main actors identified also in the previous presentation, we have the supplier and the developer and the customer, the end user. Both the supplier and the developer paid a fee to be a member, and so they have some advantages, like, for example, an EU and we hope a global showcase, more clients and more business, and the opportunity to create a new collaboration between other supplier and between supplier and developer. So the platform maintain a percentage on this transaction, plus the other way to get money, like the additional services, the sponsorship, research and activities project, and the venture capital. But we can also look at the platform from a business perspective as the end user. When imagine a manufacturer looking for a specific equipment, he can access to a Market 4.0 platform that is able to offer trusted business-to-business services, and he can meet different producers of this equipment with different brands, with different prices, different features. In the same time, he is looking for an equipment. Through our platform, he can discover an overall ecosystem of other services and tools he can use together with the equipment he is looking for. Each one of these actors can implement another network of contact between producers, providers, both technology and services and app. And the Market 4.0 marketplace will favor the creation of a hybrid business model, because while the platform follows the membership business model, the other actors involved in the platform will have their own business model. For example, a long-term rental, pay-per-use, payment in advance, and so on. So each one of them have another business model. It is back the one of our platform. At the end of the project, we have to think about the future. So how we intend to maintain the platform. First of all, it's important to create a balance between supply and demand, because clients are the most important actor of the platform, but without a concrete offering, there no will be clients. So it's important to create this balance and to be able to involve more both supplier and user, so generate a community around our solution and create also a customer base, so install a fidelity relation between the user and the seller of products and services. It's important to become global, so to go on in the involvement of new clients and new end user, not only at European level but at global level. And in this sense, it is important to identify new product, new categories, new services that can be added to our platform, adding value to our offering. I leave the floor to Christoph.
Thank you very much, Maria Rosaria. It would be great if someone could grant me the right to present my screen to be able to show my slides. And
sure thing, Christoph.
My camera to say hi.
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Whenever you want, you can share your screen.
Perfect. Should be on its way. And here we go. So what I would like to do is step a bit back. So we now heard a lot of details about Market 4.0, the marketplace, the offering, business models, different ways of engaging here. What I would like to do is explaining a very remarkable aspect of Market 4.0 and what also, besides all the business opportunities in the current market, is in for Market 4.0 as a perspective for the upcoming years related to the topics of data spaces. So let me elaborate a little bit on that. What you can see here on the screen is the, so to say, current business model related to APIs, where customers from traditional stakeholder networks can make use of the services that Market 4.0 offers via standard APIs. So this is for the state of play true for our three core sectors: high tech, plastic, and metal. But of course, I think the presentations before made very clear that we have a huge potential in not scaling only in these three domains, but also the potential to scale to other domains that are manufacturing related here, which is already a great effort. Nevertheless, this is the traditional way of making business. Let me see if I can also change my slides. I can. The other aspect, and I think Kostas showed that from a very technical perspective earlier in our webinar, the other way to make business via Market 4.0 is in data spaces. And here we have a broad range of potential customers, because the principle of data spaces is once you are part of a data space, thanks to a connector, as you can see here, you immediately have theoretically access to all other participants' data and services of the data space. But this is a very important aspect only if you agree to the rules of the one who offers a service or offers data sets to the others. So you have a very fine granular way to define these sets of rules, a very dedicated way to say who should be able to access my data treasure, who should be able to access my data services, and therefore you have a data economy that grants very fine granular rules to give access or even usage control here. A great aspect here is that from the perspective now, so let's not talk too much about the customer for a second here, but let's talk about the marketplace, Market 4.0 for a second. The fact that Market 4.0 equipped its marketplace with a connector is the enabler for Market 4.0 and therefore its business model to be compliant and to be part of literally every data space that is in the phase of being created or is already out there. because with this connector, you have a gateway to IDS compliant data spaces. And this is a great thing. So with a former business model, let's maybe get one slide further where we have both on one slide. With a traditional stakeholder network and the traditional business model, Market 4.0 gets into competition with already very well established marketplaces out there. With a future stakeholder network, we have a unique selling point that is, really unique, and where the competition currently is quite low because of the new approach that companies out there in some cases just started to explore. So we really have a great advantage that we created here in the project. And to just bring it down to a few keywords, why this is so great for not only Market 4.0, but also for the potential customer networks out there sitting in data spaces: data sovereignty, the rights and the ability to stay in control over your data, trust between participants, so identity topics and so on and so forth, so you can trust participants even though you not have well-established business relationships maybe. Interoperability, so in combination with scalability, is the way to scale the business model of Market 4.0 at the end, but also to grant access to services and other things. This is, like I said, a growing market, and I put here a screenshot of our live up and running data space radar that we as IDSA host on our website. So please be free to follow the link, go to a webpage and have a look at the interactive tool, where you can see that more than 60 data spaces and use cases are out there. And I really can tell from my daily life, being in contact with most of them and even more, that this is a growing market. And we as Market 4.0 are really ready for these business models and to offer our services and be part of this game. Yeah, with that, I would say I committed the base message of how we are in a transition between different business models, from traditional business models towards future business models happening in data spaces. And I would be glad to hand over to Dimitrios for, I think, the wrap up and the handover to the Q&A, which should be right in time for our schedule.
Thank you very much, Christoph and Maria Rosaria, of course, for the presentation. Right in time, of course, we have 80 minutes left, let's say, until the completion of the webinar. From my side, if I could wrap it up a little bit, I would just like to thank all presenters, for your efforts and for giving all these interesting presentations on the project today. I hope that all attendees find the different sessions, the live demos, all the slots interesting, and that they have all of them, something to add to the big picture of Market 4.0 of the project. With this, yes, we conclude, as we said, the presentations, and we move on to the Q&A session, which will last for the next, let's say, 18 minutes. So, as we said, please feel free to use the question function to submit your questions to us, and we'll be happy to take them and answer them. And or if you would like to comment, by all means, you can use the raise hand function. We'll be happy to give you the floor so that you may maybe provide your feedback, your comment, or if you would like to, I don't know, possibly ask a question that is too long to write and submit it to the question box. So I will stay on screen. I will keep my camera open. I will just mute my mic. We will be waiting for your questions, your feedback, your comments. We'll be happy to have them. Thank you very much. I will unmute if and as needed. So we are really looking forward to your feedback and questions. see there are no, let's say, questions from the audience so far. Again, we will keep, let's say, this session open, but if we don't receive any, let's say, feedback or questions from the attendees, we will close it a little bit earlier, you know, the overall event. For now, we keep it open, at least for 5 more minutes. I will get back to you in case there are any questions or any hands raised. I see that some attendees are also, let's say, leaving the event. So again, no questions, no comments. What I would like to kindly ask is all presenters to turn your cameras on so that we can have, let's say, this round of open cameras, and so that we can at least close the event with this as well. So we are, all of us, I believe, and right, yes. So I see, I don't think we'll have any questions, to be honest. So with this, I believe we can close the event, you know, with this round open camera table. Once again, from my side, I would like to thank the attendees for your time and for your participation. We hope you found this online webinar interesting. One, thank you again to all presenters for your time and effort. And I wish everyone from my side at least a nice day, a nice remainder of the day, and a nice weekend. And if anyone from the presenters would like to add anything, please, by all means. Cosma, I will give the floor to you. Basically, you would like to say a wrap-up phrase or something, you know, or final comment.
Thanks, Dimitris. I don't have anything in particular, just to thank all of you. And yeah, we are open. I mean, this is a request for the audience. We are open for any kind of future collaboration in the context of the Market 4.0 marketplace. And thank you for Dimitris for organizing.
Thank you very much, Cosma. Basically, one maybe final comment. Christoph, would you like to take the floor? Sorry, I saw you raise your hand. No? Would you like to add?
I just wanted to wave and say thank you for all the great participation. So, and yeah, it was really a pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you so much. One final, let's say, remark from my side, or maybe as a reminder to all attendees, that the recording from this event will be available on the project's YouTube channel. You just type Market 4.0 on YouTube, you will find the channel. Please feel free to subscribe if you would like. There are videos also from the open calls, from the open call projects, you know, the success stories videos, you know, highlighting the achievements of the experiments. And yeah, you will be able to access it and go through it again if you would like there on our YouTube channel. Thanks again. Have a nice remainder of the day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.